The universe was vast, ancient, and filled with civilizations that had risen and fallen long before humanity even discovered fire. The Galactic Concord, an interstellar alliance of over 1,000 species, considered itself the rightful ruler of known space. For centuries, it had enforced peace through strength, diplomacy backed by overwhelming force. It had seen upstart species before, primitive, arrogant races that reached the stars too soon, believing themselves exceptional. None had ever lasted. Then came humanity. They had arrived late to the galactic stage, a mere 200 years into interstellar travel. The Concorde had watched them with curiosity at first, then amusement. Humanity had no empire, no galactic holdings, no great fleets of war, but they expanded. Not through conquest, not through brute force, but through relentless will. In just 2 centuries, they had established colonies on the edge of known space, survived in environments no other species dared to settle, and adapted to conditions that should have broken them. Still, they were an insignificant species in the eyes of the conquered. Their ships were outdated, their fleets laughably small. So when a minor power, the Zorvax Dominion, laid claim to Eden 4, a human frontier world, the conquered did not expect resistance. The humans had 1 colony, the Zorvax had a fleet. The math was simple. A single ultimatum was sent: withdraw from Eden 4 or be removed by force. The humans responded, come and try. The war should have lasted a day. It lasted 6 months. A challenge-accepted Commander Veshitak of the Zorvax Dominion stood on the bridge of his warship, the Vindicator, gazing at the battlefield before him. The humans were losing. They had to be. His fleet outnumbered them 10 to 1. Their weapons were superior, their defenses impenetrable. And yet, the humans would not break. Commander, they've disabled another cruiser, his second-in-command hissed, mandibles clicking in frustration. They fight like they don't care if they die. Veshitak's grip tightened. That was what unsettled him. Most species, when faced with overwhelming force, surrendered. They understood survival. But humans, they didn't retreat. They didn't surrender. They adapted. His fleet had crushed their orbital defenses in the first engagement. But in the second, the humans changed their tactics. They used hit-and-run strikes, baited Zorvax ships into asteroid fields, lured them into ambushes. And now, the tide was turning. The humans had disabled 4 of his cruisers. Their ships, smaller, faster, dodged plasma fire and retaliated with precision. It was as if they had learned the Zorvax fleet's movements, predicting their attacks before they happened. Sir, enemy reinforcements incoming. Veshitak turned sharply to the main screen. His blood ran cold. The void of space ripped open. A massive human warship emerged from subspace. It was unlike anything the Zorvax had ever seen. Larger than any human ship they had encountered, bristling with weapons that should not exist. A single transmission echoed across the battlefield, broadcast on all channels. You just challenged the deadliest species in the galaxy. And now, it's war. A mistake that couldn't be undone. The first barrage came before Veshitak could react. Human railguns, primitive but terrifyingly effective, tore through his ships like paper. The new warship led the charge, moving faster than anything its size should have been capable of. Zorvax ships tried to retreat. They failed. Humanity had been holding back. But now they weren't fighting for a colony. They were fighting to prove a point. And the galaxy was about to learn exactly why that was a mistake. Would you fight or flee if humanity came for revenge? How do you think the galaxy will respond to this war? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling HFY Sci-Fi epics. The Galactic Concord convened in emergency session. The Chamber of Sovereigns, a grand hall where the rulers of 1,000 species debated the course of interstellar civilization, had never known silence. Until now. Representatives sat frozen, their gazes locked on the holographic projection at the center of the chamber. It replayed, again and again, the final moments of the Zorvax fleet. A human warship, unlike any ever seen before, tearing through the Dominion's forces as if they were nothing. Weapons that should have been primitive, railguns, kinetic slugs, and nuclear warheads, had rendered Zorvax shielding useless. No species fought like this. No species should fight like this. It was brutality turned into an art form. At the center of the chamber, High Chancellor Orvash of the Galactic Concord finally spoke. "We must open negotiations. Immediately." A murmur of dissent rippled through the chamber, but none dared challenge her. Not after what they had just seen. Across the room, Grand Minister Ralzok of the Threx Dominion rose, his deep, resonant voice filled with contempt. "You wish to negotiate with primitives." He gestured toward the still image of the human warship, floating amidst the debris of an entire fleet. "They are nothing but savages. The Zorvax underestimated them, that is all. A true fleet will—" He never finished the sentence. The chamber doors slammed open. A Concordian envoy, one of their own, stumbled in, pale and shaking. A transmission from Earth. A message to the galaxy. A hush fell over the room. The holographic display flickered, then changed. A human figure appeared, a woman, dressed in the deep black uniform of Terran High Command. Her dark eyes were cold, her expression unreadable. Behind her, Earth's flag billowed in an unseen breeze. She did not bow. She did not introduce herself. She simply spoke. "To the Galactic Concord. This is Admiral Catherine Reyes of the Terran Defense Fleet." Her voice was calm, deliberate, a predator's patience. "You have made a grievous error." The chamber's lights dimmed. The holographic display shifted again. This time, it showed Eden 4, or what was left of it. The colony had been razed, cities burned, atmosphere scorched, a planet once teeming with life, reduced to ash. The Concord had seen war before. They had sanctioned planetary bombardments, deployed orbital strikes, and wiped out rebellious factions. But this, the destruction was not human work. It was Zorvax, and humanity had receipts. The image changed again. This time, a prison facility, a Zorvax stronghold. Within its walls, humans in chains. A soft murmur filled the chamber. The Zorvax had claimed Eden 4 was evacuated before the invasion. They had lied. They had enslaved the survivors. Admiral Reyes's voice was steel. "You burned our colony. You took our people. You enslaved them. And now, you will answer for it." Her next words sent ice through the veins of every leader in the chamber. "We are coming." A line in the sand panic erupted. The Concord had dealt with war before, but not like this. Not against a species that thrived on conflict, not against an enemy that had only just begun. The Threx Grand Minister rose again, slamming his fist against the table. "They dare threaten us? They are a single species. We are the Concord." Across the table, a Xenar diplomat, a species known for their eerie foresight, leaned forward, his multiple eyes unblinking. "Minister Ralzok," he whispered, "do you truly not see it?" "See what?" the Threx scoffed. The Xenar turned back to the holographic display, watching the image of Earth's warships burning toward the stars. This was not a warning. He exhaled slowly, fear creeping into his voice. This was a declaration. How do you think the galaxy will respond to humanity's message? Will they prepare for war or seek diplomacy? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this chapter, like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling HFY Sci-Fi epics. The first mistake the Concord made was assuming humanity fought wars like everyone else. They had studied Earth's early conflicts, their primitive wars, their treaties, their fragile alliances. They had seen humanity fracture and rebuild itself countless times. They had believed war was a tool of last resort. They were wrong. Strike first, strike hard. 3 Zorvax-controlled worlds burned in the first 72 hours. The Sovereign, Earth's newest warship, led the first strike. It emerged from slipspace like a phantom, bypassing orbital defenses with pinpoint precision. In its wake, smaller Terran warships launched wave after wave of kinetic bombardments, hypervelocity slugs designed to punch through planetary defenses. Zorvax ground forces never had a chance. Their planetary shields, designed to withstand plasma-based weaponry, were useless against solid projectiles traveling at relativistic speeds. Entire military installations gone in an instant. Orbital stations that should have housed millions of troops shattered under the unrelenting assault. This was not war as the Concorde understood it. This was extermination. No surrender, no mercy. Across the battlefront, the same terrifying pattern unfolded. Terran warships did not engage in traditional fleet combat. They hit hard and vanished, using unconventional tactics that left enemy admirals scrambling. They ignored rules of engagement. They did not take prisoners. When the Concorde sent diplomatic envoys begging for negotiations, the humans did not respond. The message was clear. There would be no peace. Not this time. The Zorvax homeworld, Kavara Prime, prepared for an all-out assault. Their war council gathered, confident that their planetary defense grid would hold against anything the humans could deploy. Then the sun went dark. Terran ships had dragged a dead moon into planetary orbit and dropped it. The impact shattered the crust of Kavara Prime, sending tectonic shockwaves across the planet. The Zorvax civilization, one of the oldest in the Concorde, was erased in less than an hour. From orbit, Admiral Catherine Reyes watched in silence. Another species gone, and Earth was just getting started. The Concorde's desperation. The Galactic Concorde, once the supreme power in the galaxy, now faced an existential threat. The Threx Dominion, the Xenar hierarchy, even the once proud Valari Imperium, all of them realized the same thing. If humanity was not stopped, there would be no galaxy left to govern. In an emergency session, the Concorde passed Directive Omega, a desperate final order. They would unite. They would fight as one. They would erase Earth from existence. Can the Concorde stop humanity's unrelenting offensive, or is it already too late? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you're enjoying this HFY Sci-Fi epic, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling stories. The Concorde had underestimated humanity. That much was certain. The war, which was expected to be a quick and decisive victory against a lesser species, had turned into a nightmare of annihilation. Entire fleets were obliterated before they could even react. Planets once thought to be impenetrable strongholds were reduced to lifeless husks. The galactic order, unchallenged for millennia, was being shattered in mere months by a species that had only recently achieved interstellar travel. And now, humanity was preparing for the final strike. The Battle of HFY Prime. HFY Prime was the Concorde's fortress world. If Earth's forces took HFY, it would open the core worlds to total invasion. The Concorde could not allow that to happen. The largest fleet ever assembled in the history of the galaxy, over 100,000 warships from every major species, converged on HFY Prime's orbit, prepared to make their final stand. For the first time since the war began, humanity did not attack immediately. Instead, a single message was transmitted across every fleet's communication channel. This is Admiral Catherine Reyes of the Terran War Command. Surrender now and we will allow your civilians to live. Continue fighting and we will burn your homeworlds to cinders. Silence. Then, laughter. The arrogance of humanity was astounding. The Concorde had never surrendered in its long history. They were the pinnacle of galactic civilization. Surely the humans were bluffing. And so, the order was given. Eradicate the Terrans. It would be a decision they would regret. The wrath of Earth. The human fleet was outnumbered 10 to 1. A battle like this should have been unwinnable, but Earth did not fight fair. They deployed weapons the Concorde had never seen before. Gravitic lances tore through enemy shields like paper. Hunter-killer swarms of AI-driven drones flanked and disabled entire squadrons before their pilots even realized what was happening. But the true horror came when the Sovereign, Earth's flagship, entered the battlefield. It wasn't a warship. It was a planetary siege platform, a weapon designed to break empires. From its hull, orbital decimation cannons fired directly at Escher Prime's atmosphere, creating firestorms that engulfed entire continents. The Concorde watched in absolute horror as their invincible fortress world crumbled before their eyes. They had spent millennia believing they were the most powerful force in the universe, and now they were the ones begging for mercy. The decision that changed everything. The Concorde's leadership had two choices: continue fighting and face extinction, surrender and hope that humanity's wrath could be restrained. For the first time in galactic history, the High Chancellor of the Concorde made a public plea for peace. It was broadcast across every surviving system. We yield. Please, no more. And once again, silence. Then, Admiral Reyes responded, "Humanity does not forget." The transmission cut off. No response, no terms, just silence. And as the surviving Concorde worlds waited in terror, one question remained unanswered. Had they surrendered too late? Would you surrender if you knew extinction was at your doorstep, or would you fight to the bitter end? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you're loving this HFY Sci-Fi epic, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling stories. The galaxy had never known silence like this. For millennia, the Concorde had ruled with absolute authority, their word law, their might unchallenged. Every species knew their place. Every rebellion was crushed before it could begin. Until now. Now their once mighty empire lay in ruins. Their fleets were nothing but scattered wreckage drifting through space. Their fortresses had become monuments of fire, burning against the backdrop of the void. And Earth stood at the center of it all. The surrender that never came. The High Chancellor of the Concorde, the last ruler of a dying empire, sat in the grand chambers of the Imperial Palace on Kesh-Tarok, once the capital of the galaxy. He had prepared the official surrender transmission, a desperate plea for peace. His hands trembled as he activated the holo channel. "This is the Concorde, sovereign rulers of the galactic order, requesting immediate ceasefire and negotiations for peace. We accept humanity's terms." Silence. Seconds passed, then minutes. No reply. He tried again. Still nothing. Then the screens flickered to life. But it wasn't the face of a diplomat. It was Admiral Catherine Reyes of the Terran War Command. Her expression was cold, unyielding. "Your request is denied." The Chancellor's breath caught in his throat. "But we surrendered. We accept your conditions." Admiral Reyes leaned forward. "Humanity remembers." And then the transmission cut. There would be no negotiations, no peace, no mercy, only judgment. Kesh-Tarok falls. The first explosions rocked the outer defenses of Kesh-Tarok within the hour. Terran warships, massive monolithic vessels of destruction, pierced the orbital defenses like they weren't even there. For every conquered ship that tried to resist, 10 human vessels swarmed it. Bombardment platforms deployed from the Sovereign, their cannons igniting the sky in flames. The core spires of the palace city crumbled, its golden towers collapsing into dust. The High Chancellor could only watch in horror. The humans were not merely defeating the Concorde, they were erasing them. A final transmission reached him, a simple message, broadcast across every frequency in the system. Kesh-Tarok will burn. And it did. The last Emperor's choice. The High Chancellor had once commanded 1,000 fleets. Now, he was a ruler with no empire left to rule. He stood before the great windows of the palace, watching as his world fell to ruin. Cities turned to slag. The screams of his people echoed across the channels. For the first time in history, the conquered knew what it was like to be powerless. And in that moment, he understood. This was not a war for conquest. It was retribution. The humans were making an example out of the conquered, a warning to the rest of the galaxy. Never challenge Earth. The aftermath of wrath. When the fires died down, Keshtarak was nothing but a wasteland, the seat of an empire that had lasted tens of thousands of years, reduced to nothing in a single Terran offensive. Across the stars, the remaining species watched in silent horror. They had once feared the Concord. Now they feared humanity. The age of the Concord was over, and the age of Earth had begun. If you were humanity, would you have shown mercy? Or would you have wiped them out completely? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. The war was over, but the scars it left behind would never fade. Once, the conquered had ruled the galaxy with absolute dominion. Now its throne was empty. Its worlds lay silent, its banners reduced to ash. And at the heart of it all stood humanity. They had not just won, they had changed everything. The fractured galaxy. The collapse of the Concord had not brought peace, it had brought chaos. Where once the galactic order had been dictated from Keshtarak, now there was nothing but power vacuums. Former vassal species fought for survival, their once loyal subjects turning on them. War erupted in the outer systems as old rivalries boiled over. Humanity had not just dismantled an empire, they had rewritten the rules of the galaxy. And the galaxy was not ready. The silence of the stars, no new alliance formed to challenge Earth. No retaliation ever came. The remaining species had seen what humanity was capable of. They had seen the fire, so they whispered instead. Stories were told in hushed voices, in shadowed corners of the void. Do not anger the humans. Do not provoke them. Never challenge Earth, for to do so was to court extinction. The price of victory, Admiral Catherine Reyes stood on the bridge of the Sovereign, staring at the void before her. The war had been necessary. But at what cost? Entire species had been wiped from existence. Cities that had stood for millennia were now ghosts of their former selves. And Earth? It was stronger than ever. Yet there was something missing, something lost, a message to the future. Humanity did not claim the remains of the Concord. They did not seek dominion over the shattered empire. Instead, they did something no one expected. They left. They returned to Sol, their home, and simply watched. A warning etched into the void itself. We do not seek war, but we will finish it. Remember Keshtarak, and the galaxy would, for centuries to come. What do you think? Did humanity do the right thing? Should they have taken control, or let the galaxy burn? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're enjoying this HFY Sci-Fi epic, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling stories. The stars that had once burned with the fires of battle now stood in solemn silence. The last echoes of warships, planetary bombardments, and desperate cries for survival had faded into distant memory. Humanity had won. Not just a war, but a place in the galactic consciousness forever. Yet, what remained? The ruins of an empire. Keshtarak, once the beating heart of the Concord, lay in ruins. Towers that had reached toward the heavens now stood crumbling, their grandeur reduced to ashes. The streets, once filled with the proud citizens of the galaxy's former rulers, were empty. Those who had survived had fled, scattering to the corners of the galaxy like dust in the wind. Humanity did not conquer the remnants of the conquered. They did not seize power. They walked away. But they left a message behind, one carved into the very walls of the shattered capital. You sought to judge us as lesser. You sought to break us. You sought to end us. We are still here. No race in the galaxy would ever forget it. the weight of victory. Admiral Catherine Reyes stood on the bridge of the Sovereign, gazing at the stars. She had led the Terran fleets through the bloodiest war the galaxy had ever known. She had seen entire species burn, had watched as civilizations crumbled beneath the relentless march of Earth's war machine. She had done her duty, and now it haunted her. "How many are left?" she asked quietly. Her XO, Commander Vasquez, exhaled before responding. "Of the Concorde's core species, less than half." A heavy silence fell between them. This had never been about conquest, never about dominance. It had been about justice, about vengeance, and in the end, it had been genocide. The galactic silence humanity withdrew. They returned to Sol, to their home, and waited. No new empire rose to take the conquered's place. No coalition dared challenge Earth's dominance. Instead, a quiet fear spread across the void. It was in the hushed tones of alien diplomats, in the nervous glances of merchants who still traveled the star lanes, in the cautionary tales told to children. Do not provoke the humans. Do not test them. They will not ask for war, but they will finish it. And so, the galaxy avoided Earth, not out of malice nor hatred, but out of primal, absolute terror. The deadliest species in the galaxy had spoken, and the galaxy listened. A future unknown years passed, decades, a century. Still, Earth remained silent. It did not expand, it did not interfere, it did not rule, but the ghosts of the war lingered. Humanity's name was etched into history, spoken in fearful whispers by those who remembered. There would be no second war. No empire would ever again make the mistake of believing humanity was weak. The galaxy had sworn to never test them again, and for generations to come, they would honor that oath. The war is over. The galaxy will remember. Humanity did not seek war, but when challenged, they answered with a fury that reshaped the stars themselves. The remnants of the once mighty enemy now whisper one universal truth. Never provoke the Terrans. Some call it justice, others call it vengeance, but in the end, the galaxy learned a lesson it will never forget. Would you have made the same choice? Could peace have been an option? Or was war inevitable? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic HFY Sci-Fi tales.